A Trump judicial nominee feeling the pressure today on Capitol Hill during a heated Senate confirmation hearing. Things became so tense that at one point he declared, quote, "I am not anybody's henchman." That man is Trump's former personal attorney, Emil Beauvais. Now, you might remember him as one of the defense lawyers in Trump's hush money trial. Well, he's now up for a seat on the Third Circuit Court of Appeals, the federal court just one step away, of course, from the Supreme Court. Beauvais also served briefly as acting deputy attorney general, where mostly notably he dropped the charges against New York City Mayor Eric Adams. Now, a new whistleblower report obtained by CNN alleges that Beauvais intended to ignore court orders regarding deportations, allegedly saying the DOJ should tell the courts, F you. Choice words that Beauvais now denies.
You frequently suggested that they say F you and ignore court orders. Is that also something you frequently do, such you might not remember doing it on this occasion?
No, and as I explained, I have never directed.
So did you or did you not make those comments during that meeting?
Which comments, Senator?
You really need me to repeat it? Did you suggest, as Mr. Ruveni wrote, that DOJ would need to consider telling the courts F you and ignore any such court order?
I did not suggest that there would be any need to consider ignoring court orders. At the point of that meeting, there were no court orders to discuss.
Well, did you suggest telling the courts F you in any manner?
I don't recall.
Joining me now is Ryan Crosswell. He's a former federal prosecutor who resigned after Beauvais directed him and his colleagues to dismiss the Adams case. Ryan, what do you want people to know about Beauvais based on your experience specifically?
You know, Laura, today Mr. Beauvais said something along the lines of, I'm not a henchman, I'm not an enforcer. I'm a lawyer from a small town who never expected to be in this arena. That makes two of us. I never expected to be in this arena either. I am because Mr. Beauvais did order that case be dismissed. It wasn't based on the facts. It wasn't based on the law. He did threaten those who refused to do it. Good public servants lost their jobs. He had the opportunity to exercise the right character in February, and he didn't do it. And he had the opportunity to clear the air today, and he didn't do it. And he's unfit to be on the Third Circuit.
Well, let me ask you, you heard him deny those claims from whistleblower report, alleging that he told the DOJ to ignore court orders, also to stop deporting migrants to El Salvador. Do you believe that?
Laura, I think we watched this play out in Judge Boasberg's court. He was repeatedly stonewalled, and so I do believe the whistleblower. I think we watched it happen, and this just confirmed that. And he also denied that there was ever a threat issued to my colleagues and I can say firsthand that there was. And I think that the senators know this. I think they know that, 8 attorneys didn't resign for no reason. They resigned because of what he did. It's obvious. I hope that these senators will do the right thing and reject his nomination.
What's your message to them as they prepare to vote and evaluate what he has testified to?
Well, aside from the fact I don't think he was truthful about what happened, I would also say, particularly to the Republican senators who I do believe probably care about law enforcement, how much he's weakened the Department of Justice. He's weakened the morale. I talked to agents and prosecutors that are still in the department that are sickened by this. The morale's down, and I think a lot of them will probably resign. And when you think about the important mission the department does, protecting our citizens from drug traffickers, violent criminals, child predators, fraudsters, it's so unfortunate. And aside from that, I think he's also weakened the credibility of the department when it goes into court. We've built up that credibility with judges, and when they believe that attorneys will be fired if they exercise candor, our credibility is hurt, and our ability to convict bad guys is hurt.
As a former prosecutor myself, I understand the sanctity of that credibility when you're in that courtroom and who comes behind you as well. Ryan Crosswell, thank you so much.
Thank you.